What happened to MF Global?
MF Global went bankrupt. But not before they allegedly stole their customers' money.
Why did they go bankrupt? Why did they allegedly steal money from their customers?
Because they allegedly went all in to bet on $6.3 billion worth of high-risk OTC derivatives. They bet on credit default swaps on European sovereign debt, and they lost. Then they tried to cover their bad bets with customer money, but they went bust.
What does all that mean?
They bought private insurance contracts in the over-the-counter market, not on a regulated exchange, so they would get paid if Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greece or Spain defaulted on their debt. They counted on the value of the contracts increasing, but the game went against them.
Did MF Global own the debt of Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greece or Spain?
I don't believe so.
How can they buy insurance on something they do not own?
OTC derivatives contracts have been legal since 2000.
It sounds just like gambling.
Yes. Today there are more than 600 trillion worth of these contracts.
Isn't 600 trillion more than 10 times the gross domestic product of the entire world?
Yes.
That sounds completely crazy.
Yes.
Who can pay 600 trillion for gambling bets?
No one can actually pay all the contracts. They are supposed to cancel out, but that has not happened, so fourth companies that have to pay simply go bankrupt, which can cause more defaults and could make more OTC derivatives obligations come due. This is one of the main reasons why banks were bailed out in 2008. To prevent systemic collapse because of OTC derivatives liabilities.
OTC derivatives sound like weapons of mass financial destruction.
Yes. OTC derivatives make the failure of big banks like a global thermonuclear attack on the world financial system. This is the reason why Western governments have allegedly been captured and are allegedly being held hostage by big banks.
And OTC derivatives were illegal before 2000?
Yes. OTC derivatives were illegal under state gambling laws in the U.S. They were legalized by the Alan Greenspan, the Larry Summers and the Robert Rubin.
The same Alan Greenspan that allegedly helped cause the dot-com bubble and the real estate bubble by keeping interest rates too low for too long?
Yes. The Alan Greenspan.
The same Alan Greenspan that allegedly ran the former head of the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, Brooks Liborn, out of Washington, D.C. for trying to regulate OTC derivatives?
Yes. The Alan Greenspan.
The same Larry Summers and Robert Rubin who allegedly deregulated U.S. banks, helping them become too big to fail?
Yes.
Are they in jail now?
No. They are key advisors to the government of the United States.
Are you kidding me?
No. I never kid about the Alan Greenspan.
Have OTC derivatives actually caused other companies to go bankrupt?
Yes. Long-term capital management and AIG. AIG was bailed out by taxpayers. The AIG bailout saved the Goldman Sachs because it meant they could be paid by AIG. When the AIG bailout took place, the Secretary of the Treasury was Henry Paulson.
Wasn't Henry Paulson CEO of the Goldman Sachs before he was the Secretary of the Treasury of the United States?
Yes.
Do you think Henry Paulson had a conflict of interest?
It has been alleged.
Are OTC derivatives regulated in the U.S. under the new Dodd-Frank law?
No. Much of Dodd-Frank was allegedly written by lobbyists who work for big banks like the Goldman Sachs and the J.P. Morgan. Critics claim it does nothing to prevent another crisis like the one in 2008, or to prevent more bailouts.
Can Western countries afford to pay for more bailouts?
Not unless more money is printed by central banks. Bailouts are one reason why there is a sovereign debt crisis right now.
Do you mean that big banks like the Goldman Sachs helped to cause the crisis in the first place and now they are betting on which countries will collapse as a result?
Basically. Yes.
And some of the same countries may have to bail them out if they lose the bets they are making in the OTC derivatives market?
Yes.
And one of the reasons why they have to be bailed out is because of their OTC derivatives exposure.
Ironic, isn't it?
Is this an example of moral hazard?
Exactly.
Doesn't printing money make prices go up and reduce the real value of wages and savings for ordinary people?
Yes.
And one of the fundamental reasons for the bailouts was OTC derivatives?
Exactly. Otherwise, after Lehman Brothers blew up, many of the big banks would have been unable to cover their OTC derivatives liabilities and the whole financial system could have come down in 2008.
And all the bailouts have to be paid for either by taxes or through money printing?
Yes.
Won't that make most people in Europe and in the US relatively poor?
Yes.
Is the financial system more stable now than in 2008?
No.
What does all this have to do with MF Global?
Allegedly. Everything.
I don't understand. Were MF Global customers making OTC derivatives bets?
No. They were investing in commodities.
What do commodities have to do with OTC derivatives?
Nothing, but big banks and hedge funds, and some commodities brokerage firms, have OTC derivatives bets both on and off their books. They're too highly leveraged and are taking extreme risks.
Do you mean commodities brokerage firms like MF Global?
Yes. There are probably more MF Globals. Like landmines buried throughout the financial system.
Did MF Global customers give the company permission to cover their bets on OTC derivatives with their money?
Allegedly no.
Was it legal for MF Global to do that?
Allegedly no. It was an alleged crime. The money was in segregated accounts. The funds in the accounts were private property. They were strictly separate from the assets of MF Global.
How can MF Global customers get their money back?
Customers in regulated markets are putatively protected by the exchange, in this case the Chicago Mercantile Exchange.
So the customers will get their money back?
Apparently not. The CME did not backstop MF Global and allegedly froze MF Global customer accounts while the market continued to trade. Then customers allegedly received margin calls and were forced to sell because their cash had allegedly been stolen.
So their money was allegedly stolen. Then their accounts were allegedly frozen, as if they had done something wrong. And then they were allegedly forced to liquidate their positions because of MF Global's alleged crimes?
Allegedly.
Who is responsible for these alleged crimes?
Allegedly the John Curzine.
The John Curzine from the Goldman Sachs.
Yes.
So MF Global allegedly robbed its customers, then the CME might have made it worse?
Allegedly.
Have the alleged criminals been brought to justice?
No one has yet been charged with an alleged crime.
What is the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission doing about this outrage?
They are allegedly working to protect the CME.
What about investors?
What about them?
Is this a joke? I thought this was the United States of America?
No. It is not a joke.
What will happen to MF Global customers now?
Their funds have allegedly been counted as part of MF Global's estate for the purposes of bankruptcy proceedings.
But it was never MF Global's money to begin with.
No. The customers are allegedly being treated as unsecured creditors and will probably get nothing even though their money was in segregated accounts.
This is unbelievable.
Yes. The market has allegedly lost all integrity.
Why didn't the CME guarantee the accounts?
Possibly because other commodities brokerage firms are also gambling on OTC derivatives and could blow up like MF Global.
I think I am beginning to understand all this. You are saying that there is more crime?
Possibly.
And many of the brokerages are allegedly involved.
Allegedly.
So other firms associated with the CME could go bankrupt if their reckless OTC derivatives bets blow up in their faces, and if they also commingle customer funds like MF Global, their customers could lose everything?
Possibly. We don't know yet how this will play out, but it looks bad.
Could the MF Global OTC derivatives blow up and alleged criminal grand theft lead to a renewed financial crisis?
The global OTC derivatives bubble is a time bomb and it is as big as ever. The regulators and the Department of Justice might avoid taking actions that could cause a major firm to fail, triggering a systemic crisis. As a result, there is allegedly no longer any rule of law. It's allegedly a criminal's dream. It's allegedly a free-for-all.
What will it take to stop this alleged crime wave?
Perhaps systemic collapse.
Is this a nightmare? How can I wake up?
Yes. It is a nightmare, but you cannot wake up.
Why isn't any of the stuff about OTC derivatives and alleged crime in the financial markets in the news?
Because it would damage confidence in the U.S. financial markets and could cause mass panic. Because the game can go on longer if everyone stays in until the end, even though that means more people could lose everything. Because if people knew that their financial futures and the fate of whole nations was being decided by gambling between financial interests instead of by hard work or democracy, it could lead to chaos or to people even questioning the basic system.
What is the basic system?
That is a topic for another video.
What can I do to protect myself if I have any money in the commodities market?
I cannot legally offer financial or investment advice. I personally buy hard assets, shares in companies that produce natural resources and physical commodities like gold and silver. I try to minimize counterparty risk.
That's what I will do.
I think that is very smart.